The New York Yankees are one win away from the World Series. We're going to talk about games 3 and 4 in today's episode. Two of the craziest postseason games I've seen in my lifetime. And we're going to talk about previewing game 5, which is tonight. The Yankees, again, have a chance to clinch their ticket to the World Series. They have a chance to punch it in. And really, I mean, there is so much to talk about with this game. There's so much to talk about with this series. There's so much to talk about in regards to just kind of where this team is at and what tonight could mean for them, what last night meant for them, and their offense. There's just so much to talk about. So before we get into everything, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Turn the notification bell to be caught up on what we're posting during the postseason. We've got you guys with plenty of October content. And with that out of the way, with that being said, let's talk about the first. I mean, this first game, which is game 3. The Yankees were dead in the waters for most of the game. They took an early 1-0 lead, but Kyle Manzaro delivered a 2-run bomb off of Clark Schmidt, who went 4 2/3 innings with 2 runs allowed. The Yankees wouldn't score in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th innings, with the Guardians tacking one on in the 6th off of Ian Hamilton and Tim Meza. The run was charging Ian Hamilton, but the run scored when Meza was on the mound. It was just kind of one of those games you start looking at and you go, all right, let's get ready for game 4. Let's hope that, they can bounce back in game 4, get a win. And I mean, Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, right? Like, we've been talking about Aaron Judge and kind of the need to have a big October moment. And that was it. He delivers a game-tying blast off of the best closer in baseball. I mean, it was a dramatic home run. You think, all right, we're back in the game. You don't think anything much more outside of like Judge just hit a big home run. And then Giancarlo Stanton continues his reign of dominance in the postseason with a go-ahead home run. It gave the Yankees a 4-3 lead. The Yankees would respond with one more run in the 9th. It felt like that was the insurance they needed. Anthony Rizzo boots a ball to open the 9th inning, but Josh Naylor hits into a double play. It looks like the Yankees are cruising to victory. Luke Weaver, strike 1. Strike 2, it's 0-2, it's 2 outs, nobody on. You couldn't possibly fathom a way for the Yankees to lose this game. And they did. Lane Thomas works the count full. He doubles off the top of the wall. And Joexley Noel, I butchered his first name. I'm just going to call him Big Christmas. He launches an absolute bomb off of Luke Weaver. We can talk about whether Weaver's usage in game 2 led to him looking a little tired in game 4 or game 3. But Noel hadn't seen Weaver, I think, all year. So this wasn't a matter of like, oh, they have seen Weaver so much or getting to him. It was a matter of, I mean, Lane Thomas had a great at-bat, and Noel launched that changeup. There was a stat, I think he had like 1 hit against changeups all year. I thought it was a bad idea to throw him a changeup, but the pitch data would suggest otherwise. And the Yankees aren't able to do anything in the top of the 10th. In the bottom of the 10th, 2 outs, 1 on. It looks like Clay Holmes could get out of it, and David Fry delivers the game killer, the game-winning blast. He launches a 2-run bomb, and the Yankees lose that game in heartbreaking fashion. That was a chance to go up 3-0 in the series. It was a chance to take kind of really just put a chokehold on the Guardians and end the series the night, on last night. What would have been last night? They would have won the series last night had they won in game 3. But now it's 2-1. Now you give the Guardians some mojo, some momentum going into game 4. In game 4, it looked like the Yankees were just going to stomp them out, right? So Juan Soto delivers a 2-run home run in the first. Cleveland responds to the run in the first as well, off Luis Heel, who went 4 innings with 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. He just didn't look particularly sharp, but again, he didn't like blow up. So, we'll get to him. We'll talk about him in a little bit. The Yankees allow another run in the 3rd. It's a 3-2 game. It's a tight game. No team blinks for the next 2 innings. And so Giancarlo Stanton off of Cade Smith. Mind you, Cade Smith has been probably the best reliever in the postseason. He serves up a 3-run bomb to Giancarlo Stanton, a nuke. Stanton with another big moment. And this 3-run home run was super pivotal because while it felt like the Guardians were just going to kind of, they were just going to go on to lose this game, the Yankees kind of just like, that was a death shot. That was putting the game on ice. The Yankees would just need to get 12 outs without allowing 4 runs. They couldn't, right? They ended up allowing 4 runs between the 7th and 8th. A big inning in the 7th inning where Jake Cousins gets knocked out in his 2nd inning of work. Clay Holmes can't stop the bleeding. He gets roughed up, and it takes Mark Leiter Jr. coming out of the bullpen, a guy who was not on the postseason roster, a guy who, only is on the roster because Ian Hamilton got hurt. He came in and he was able to get the final out. In the 8th inning, he allows a leadoff double. The Yankees looked like they were going to be able to get out of it because Mark Leiter Jr. gets the next 2 guys out. And David Fry, a little dribbler, it bounces off the glove of Leiter, who's trying to reach over and stop the ball. If he doesn't stop the ball, Glaber was not going to get to that ball. That ball's at like 40 miles an hour. Fry isn't the fastest guy in the world, but he isn't Giancarlo Stanton out there. And I even think a guy like Giancarlo Stanton could beat out that ball. It ricochets off his glove. It goes towards the first base line. Leiter Jr.'s momentum is moving him perpendicular to the bag or the baseline, so it's not like he's going to be able to just turn around and just tag the guy out. He needed to make a flip. He did. It was catchable for Rizzo. He didn't stop the ball or even catch it. Like, it just went through him. And the Guardians end up tying the game, and you think, oh my gosh, here we go again. It's over, right? Like, the game's tied. The Yankees, they got Clase coming in. I know Clase hasn't really done well against the Yankees, but you're kind of thinking this is the best closer on planet Earth. No way he continues to struggle. And continue to struggle, he did. Rizzo makes up for the error by slapping a single to left field. Volpe delivers his second hit of the game in this at-bat. He lines a single into right field. The Yankees had pinch run. Anthony Rizzo for Oswaldo Cabrera, or John Birdie, excuse me. John Birdie would get from first to third. That was huge. Volpe would swipe second. That was also huge. As while Wells struck out, he hit a home run in the game. So, he looked a little better in this game. While he struck out, they were able to at least advance a runner to second. And Alex Verdugo just cues a ball off the end of his bat. Birdie is running hard towards the plate. Brian Rocchio, who's playing in, the shortstop, in his head, he's probably thinking, all right, I got to corral this ball and see if I can fire it home in time. He's rushing the play. He rushes the play. The Yankees are able to force him to make an error. Verdugo reaches. Glaber comes up, delivers his second hit of the night. Another just great postseason showing for the Yankee second baseman. He makes it an 8-7 game, 8-6 game, excuse me. I don't know where I got 9-7 from. And I mean, the Yankees had just to get 3 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Canely comes in. You're a little nervous. You're a little stressed. You're like, what's going on here? Are the Yankees going to be able to close this thing out? He strikes out Lane Thomas after falling down 3-1. He walks Noel. I believe he got Andres Jimenez to give up a single. Andres Jimenez gave up a single to Jimenez. It was just a weak fly ball to right field. The tying run is on first. The go-ahead run's on the plate. Bo Naylor immediately flies out, and then Brian Rocchio works a decent at bat. He's seeing some pitches, and then he grounds out to Birdie. The ball bounces off of Birdie's glove. The Yankees he's still able to recover. He fires to first. The Yankees win the game. They're now up 3-1 in the ALCS. And a big part, I think, of Game 4 that I really loved was that the Yankees got punched in the mouth last night, the night before. The Yankees got punched in the mouth during Game 4, and they still responded. For everything you can say about, like, the bullpen wasn't good. It wasn't good. The bullpen was not good. Luis Gil was not great. He was right? Schmidt wasn't great yesterday. It was The bullpen, terrible, right? Like, you needed your big guns to get you some big outs, and for the most part, they couldn't, right? Holmes has been money for you all postseason, and he couldn't deliver a big out to save his life in that inning. He couldn't deliver the big out against David Fry. Weaver couldn't deliver the big out against Noel. And you're able to respond to 2 of your best relievers not showing up by winning in Game 4 and taking a 3-1 lead. The Yankees got punched in the mouth multiple times over the last 48 hours. Multiple times. Those are season killers. I liken this to when the Diamondbacks had that unbelievable win in Game 3. They have an unbelievable win in Game 4 with the Phillies having a 2-0 lead in the series to make it a 2-2 series. And I think that right there gave the Diamondbacks the confidence that they could win that series. You did not want to give the Guardians the confidence that they could win this series. This Guardians team, you can say everything you want about the American League Central. They are a better team, in my opinion, than that Arizona Diamondbacks team was. Much better bullpen. I think the lineup has a better, like, their star player in Jose Ramirez. I'd argue he's a better player than Corbin Carroll, even though the gap isn't massive. I would argue that the supplemental bats around Carroll were not as good as the supplemental bats around Ramirez. You have Stephen Kwan, you have Josh Naylor, you have Noel, you have Lane Thomas, you have David Fry, you have Kyle Manzardo. You have a lot of dudes who can mash, who can really pound the baseball in the box. I mean, they were able, and they being the Guardians, they were able to punch Yankees in the mouth multiple times throughout this game. Multiple times. And the Yankees still found ways to respond. both teams are bloodied up. Both teams have depleted their bullpens. Both teams don't have their top guys basically ready to go who are in a confidence mode. I know Weaver's rested, but I wouldn't consider Luke Weaver in a spot where you could say like, oh, he's back. Like he just gave up. He just had his worst outing in like a month. I think he'll be fine, but we'll see. I was actually happy with what Cousins did until that 7th inning. I think that he can be an arm for you. Holmes, I'm willing to see if he can get back on track. Leiter Jr. delivered a huge outing for you. Canely continues to be incredible in the postseason. Tim Hill continues to be a dude. He's a dog. We'll see if he's available tonight. I would doubt the Yankees would push him too hard, but there is an off day tomorrow, and this is a chance to win the series. So I think all hands should be on deck. It'll be Carlos Rodon going tonight. So, we'll see if he's able to deliver in game 5 the way he did in game 1. There are a couple of things that I am worried about in this outing for Rodon. It's that he got so many chases in game 1, and the Guardians have become a lot more patient as the series has gone on. Their swing percentage has gone down precipitously throughout the series. For Rodon, the big thing is getting ahead and staying ahead. The Yankees have fallen behind in the count against the Guardians way, way too much. The Guardians have seen over 30% of their pitches come while they're ahead in the count. The league average is around 26%. No team averaged 30% or higher in terms of pitches seen while ahead in the count. The Yankees have to limit the amount of times the Guardians have the count leverage, the count advantage. Count leverage is super important in the postseason, super important in the regular season. Count leverage determines a lot when it comes to pitching. Batters are just better in those situations, right? They see better pitches to hit. And when they don't, like the Yankees walked 7 guys yesterday. They walked 7, allowed 11 hits. It's no surprise that they weren't able to do a job. You cannot walk 7. You cannot walk 7 batters. Not in a postseason game. You cannot walk 7 batters. 3 of them came from Hill, sure, but Cousins walked somebody, Holmes walked somebody, Leiter walked somebody, Canely walked somebody. Cannot have walks. Cannot have 7 walks in the postseason. You just can't. You can't. It's 7 out of 45 batters, so it's not like as bad. It's a 15% walk rate. That isn't, the worst I've ever seen in my life, but it's not good enough, right? You've got to limit the walks. You have to control the count. You put Cleveland in positions where they're going to be able to have some count leverage. Granted, there were some runs that scored on just some straight BS, right? Like Josh Naylor throwing his bat out on a Luis Gil changeup. That's a foot off the plate, right? Like that's bad luck. But the guy that was on first base reached because he was ahead in the count, right? The hitter was ahead of the count. Luis was behind the count all day. Holmes behind the count the entire time, really, during that inning. You just can't fall behind the count that often. You have to stay ahead. You have to attack. Especially when you have a 4-run lead. We're talking a 4-run lead and guys are still walking people. Can't happen, right? Like 4 of the Yankees' 7 walks came after they took a 4-run lead in this game. That cannot happen. You cannot walk 7 batters in a baseball game, and you cannot walk 4 batters after you take a 6-2 lead. That is how you lose baseball games, folks. That's how you lose in the postseason. Cannot give the Guardians runners on. They're not, the kind of team that runs the way they may have ran in the regular season or in years past, but that doesn't matter to me, right? Like, I want this team to limit them from getting on base unnecessarily. They got 11 hits. You tip your cap. Some of it, sure. Some of it's BS luck, but I'm sure some of our hits have been BS luck, right? Like I'm sure there's been some events or some situations where the Yankees have been, the benefactor of a really lucky hit. The Yankees had, the Yankees did not have. I'm trying to see if they had like a hit that came with like on like this. You could argue the Verdugo ball, right? The one where it's a fielding error, like that's a 44-mile-an-hour batted ball. Like that should never go for a hit. The Yankees should never score a run doing that. Rizzo had a 68-mile-per-hour single. This kind of stuff just happens. He also had a 71-mile-an-hour single. So, the Yankees have put together some innings by cheesing a little bit. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't use that to discredit the offense. I'm using that to say that throughout the course of a baseball game, you're going to have these things happen, batted ball luck, all that stuff, but you have to limit how much damage that chaos can create. You have to limit it. Gotta control the walks. The Yankees have been behind the count too much, too many free passes. Guardians, they've gotten too many opportunities to cash in, and now they're starting to cash in on those opportunities. But Rodon, the Guardians have hit lefties well. That's a concern. I've mentioned that in game 1, but he looked really good in game 1. So we'll see if he's able to kind of figure something out here, keep the fastball slider combination going. Bullpen. They've got to show some life in tonight's game. They have to kind of bring back the confidence that this group can get a job done. And the offense has to keep humming. It's Tanner Bibby tonight, or I believe it's Bibby. not particularly sure. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I just don't know how to pronounce it. Tanner Bybee got roughed up by the Yankees. He was knocked out in the second inning in game 2. Left-handed batters kill Tanner Bybee. They kill him. They slug over 460 against him. He cannot handle left-handed hitters. I expect to see as many lefties in there as possible. You want Rizzo in there. I know that I've talked about the defensive blunders. Those are really bad. Like, they're really, really bad. And if he continues to make them, you have to consider changing it up at first base. You have to. I mean, you've got to make those plays, man. You've got to come up with some of those plays. But I want lefties in. I want lefties galore. I know there's been some talk about benching Chaz. I don't think this is the game where you bench Chaz. You want to keep, maybe if you want to bring in Cabrera at third base, kind of try a little something, sure. But I'm looking at this offense and I'm saying I want as many lefties in here as possible. I want Verdugo in the game. I want, Rizzo. I want, Jazz or whatever you want to say. I want Wells behind the dish. I need, obviously, Soto's going to be there. You want as many lefties as possible. You just want to ramp up the lefties. Bybee is really struggling against lefties. Soto in particular has done so much damage against Bybee. Judge has done some damage against Bybee. Volpe has done some damage against Bybee. They've got to show up tonight. And I think they will. This is a beneficial matchup towards the Yankees in terms of Bybee. Rodon's a tough cookie, but the Guardians do hit lefties well. I expect a lot of runs on the board tonight, but I think the Yankees can outslug the Guardians, and hopefully they continue to launch a long ball. With that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, 1 win away, 1 more win, and your New York Yankees are in the World Series. I couldn't contain my excitement. I'm trying to not be a little too crazy on this podcast. It's a morning podcast. I don't want to kind of blow your eardrums out, and I'll save any excitement, celebration, whatever you want to call it. I'll save it for if they do advance. I don't want to jump the gun. As Giancarlo Stanton put it, the job is not finished. They haven't accomplished anything yet. That's what he said. That's not my words. That's what he said. They haven't accomplished anything yet. They have to make the World Series before I celebrate like they made the World Series. So I'm gonna avoid jinxing anything. I'm gonna avoid saying oh my gosh, this and that. 2 great games from a baseball standpoint, from a neutral fan standpoint. 50 years off my life, 50 years off the life of probably every Yankee fan, and hopefully they're able to wrap it up tonight. If you guys are interested in our content, you love what we do, make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and of course this YouTube page. At Fireside Yankees is our handles everywhere except for Instagram, where it's at fireside.yankees. We have a Discord page. We're going to be having some conversations in there about the Yankees. Make sure to check out the link in the description. It'll be there. You guys can chat with other Yankee fans, and I'll be frequenting in there as well. Furthermore, you guys can also check out empiresportsmedia.com for all of our written content. And it's NFL season. We've got some fun games tomorrow for the Sunday slate. We've got a great Monday night game as well. I actually don't know that. I don't know the Monday night game. I'm joking. But I mean, look, the NFL, there's always parity in that league. There's always so much BS going on. If you guys want to be involved and bet in that stuff, we have Fireside Bets. We've got plenty of betting content, a lot of NFL stuff, some baseball stuff as well. 21 and older, of course, in order to bet legally in the United States. If you're using Underdog or any of that stuff, that's not technically gambling. So, it's a little different from what we do. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Yankees. 1 win away. Let's do a job, folks. Peace out.
Perfect.